Children who come to school every day in high-poverty communities are children who are facing challenges that many of us could not even imagine. What Turnaround is about is giving the skills and the tools to work with children and enable those children to be successful.
What Turnaround is what I keep referring to as a whole school approach. They're trying to change the culture of the school. Others do that in their own way. I think Turnaround has a very successful model.
What we do is give teachers and leaders a toolkit that enables them to work with kids in the classroom, give kids the support they need, and change the culture of these schools from something negative to something vibrant and thriving.
We have a lot of hardworking, dedicated teachers, but in year one, I was just kind of like thrown students, if you will. These were the students that were just slated to be undereducated. Students hated a lot of the teachers hated a lot of the students, and as a school leader, I didn't know what to do.
When we look at the culture as a whole, we're looking at things like police-reported incidents, reductions in suspensions, teacher turnover, which goes down by 77%. And we look at things which improve. It's student attendance at over 90%, and we look at teacher attendance going up dramatically. That's a measure of the fact that teachers enjoy the culture at the school and want to be there.
I believe that when people come from a tough situation, or they come from a family that doesn't have a lot of money, like I did when I was a kid, the best way for them to succeed in life is to be able to go to a good school and get a good education. Every kid, no matter where they live, no matter where they come from, no matter how much money their parents have, every kid in America deserves to have a quality education and go to a good school and have teachers that care about them and expect the best from them and are ready to help them become the best.
There are 130,000 schools in the United States. Of those schools, approximately 30% of them are failing our kids. We are not going to be able to fix the public school system at scale if we don't improve the performance of the people who are there and improve it dramatically. And we can do that. We can do that by training. We can do that through accountability. And we can do that through giving teachers, especially the teachers working in high-poverty schools, the specific tools and strategies for working with children in those schools.
When I came into the school, the first thing I noticed was it's a huge school. And there was a lot of children that seemed to be getting lost in the school. About 60% of our students were below grade level, and that hadn't changed in 10 years. And it was my responsibility to try to figure out a way to change that. So I began looking for outside organizations to partner with our school. And I came to Turnaround for Children.
They love the big challenges, Not everybody wants to go to the most complex, most challenged schools.
We work with schools in two basic ways. We have an expert team consisting of a classroom coach, an educator, and a social work consultant. And that team works with 3 schools. The second biggest strategy that we use is training. We bring a tremendous amount of professional development to teachers, to actually the entire school staff. And this professional development is focused on helping kids to regulate their behavior, helping kids to discover how to set goals.
My name is Christy Barron. I've been working at PS 85 this is 3.5 years now. When I first came to PS 85, I cried a lot. I came in extremely idealistic, wanting to do a lot of things, but there were just a lot of obstacles to overcome. Those kids need help that I cannot give to them unless I have the education, unless I have the tools to be able to give to them. And that's where Turnaround really came in.
In a typical Turnaround school, fewer than 1/3 of the students when we begin are proficient in English and math. When Turnaround leaves 3 years later, 2/3 of the students are proficient in English and math. And what that means is the culture of the school has changed and become something very positive. In other words, it's become cool to be a student.
When I was in 6th grade, I used to never care about nothing. I just used to do bad stuff, run away. But now that I'm in 7th grade and I'm having someone to talk to, I'm letting my feelings out.
School's really fun. It's just not like any ordinary school.
Turnaround works
when the leadership of the building is aligned to the philosophy of the organization.
Like the ballroom. Somebody give me another noun that we can...
We strictly focus on academics now. Last year we were a C in the school report card, and we went to an A. So what we know is if you give this population of kids upfront what they need, their output will be greater.
And this is exactly what Turnaround helps schools to do.
A lot of people want to work on what they call ancillary services, the social or the psychosocial, but I think if you don't integrate that into the school community and really affect culture and the way the school does business, you're not going to succeed.
We have been working with the congressional committees on education, specifically incorporating our strategies about culture change and teacher performance into that legislation.
I think what Turnaround is presenting is a powerful body of evidence and knowledge about the internals of a school that have to be dealt with. If the school is dysfunctional in many of these areas, there's not a chance in hell that you're going to create either a learning environment or a teaching environment that's sustainable to get the results that these students and that neighborhood and that community need for success.
It costs $16,000 a year to educate a child in a regular education classroom, $30,000 a year to put that child in a special education classroom, and it costs $200,000 a year for a child to be in juvenile detention. When you think about a program that can be delivered to a child for $500 a year, how can we not do this? The country is demanding more for every dollar spent on public education. We know how to help schools do just that. We are not rocket science. We are practical. We show schools how to bring about great performance in systematic, deliberate, and replicatable ways.